We do have the right to still choose who we associate with, but they did not refuse
I refuse to associate myself with you right now.
And now for our final act of this evening, ladies and gentlemen. If you like music, drama, and possibly rap, go Ray. Then you're gonna love the opera stylings of Raven Baxter. And go Ray. Or Chelsea Daniels. What? Y'all have fun.
You have a position on what people's names should be.
I'm not about it.
Get off the stage. What are you gonna do? Blow out my candles?
Let it go. To hire you if your name is Watermelon Drea.
Watermelon-drea.
Oh, that's no.
Yep, that's me.
I'm a sad little tree in pain because I'm dying from acid rain.
Come on, girlfriends, let's either call. The shops are waiting at the...
This is who you're going to be. You follow it, you listen, you pay attention. And you practice, so I went along for the ride.
Whether you see it in an interview, whether you see it on print, whether you see it at that time, had 15 people dictating what I should. Oh, please, you just want someone to boss around. A lady should not look like. If I did whatever I want, I'm not gonna sell because it doesn't go with the brand.
Mouth never makes a sound. You never minded when I took the lead. You get off, get off. Hey, Corey.
2000
Said that I gave you the push you need. What's going on? This is my slow.
and saying, "Oh, remember when we had jobs?"
That's a horrible feeling.
The truth is,
Talk to the tree.
Please stop fighting or DePaulo blames me.
I don't hire black people. Yes, I was aware. My friends were aware. My parents were not.
You promised me I could be the boss, but who?
Can you believe a single scene could bring down a show as huge as That's So Raven? Imagine a TV show loved by millions, full of laughter, heart, and a sprinkle of magic, suddenly disappearing because of one moment that sparked a firestorm. That's exactly what happened. And today, we're diving into the wild story of how one infamous scene changed everything for this Disney Channel classic. Grab a snack, get cozy, and let's unravel the mystery of what took That's So Raven off the air. Back in the early 2000s, That's So Raven was a game changer. It hit the Disney Channel in 2003 and quickly became a favorite for kids like you and me. The show followed Raven Baxter, a teenager with a super cool ability. She could see glimpses of the future. These visions weren't always clear, though, and they often led Raven into hilarious messes as she tried to fix things before they went wrong. Whether she was sneaking out to a party or trying to save her friends from embarrassment, Raven's adventures kept us glued to the screen. The show wasn't just funny. It had heart. It showed us the importance of family, friendship, and staying true to yourself. Raven lived with her parents, Victor and Tanya, and her little brother Corey, who was always up to some kind of mischief. Her best friends, Eddie and Chelsea, were always by her side, ready to jump into whatever crazy plan Raven cooked up. What made That's So Raven special was how real it felt. Raven wasn't perfect. She made mistakes, got embarrassed, and sometimes messed up big time, just like us. But she always found a way to make things right. The show also broke new ground because it was the first Disney Channel series to star an African-American family. That was a big deal. It showed kids from all backgrounds that they could be the hero of their own story. Plus, the comedy was top-notch. Raven's wild disguises, like when she set up as a plumber or a pop star, had us laughing so hard we could barely breathe. And who could forget her catchphrase, "Oh snap!" It was the kind of show that made you feel like you were hanging out with your best friends. But behind all the fun, there was drama brewing. That's So Raven wasn't just a hit with kids. It was a massive success for Disney. It ran for 4 seasons, hitting 100 episodes, which was a huge milestone for a Disney Channel show. They even made a spin-off called Cory in the House, and later Raven's Home, which brought Raven back years later. The show had toys, clothes, video games, and even a soundtrack with catchy songs. By 2006, That's So Raven merchandise was making over $400 million. That's a lot of lunchboxes and t-shirts. Everyone loved Raven, played by the super talented Raven Simonet, who was only 19 when she started producing the show. She was calling the shots, helping write scripts, and making sure everything was just right. The cast, including Orlando Brown as Eddie and Annalise Vanderpool as Chelsea, had amazing chemistry, which made every episode feel like a big, warm hug. So, what went wrong? How could a show this popular just vanish? Well, it all comes down to one episode that stirred up so much trouble, it changed the show's future forever. Let's go back to 2006, during the show's 4th season. That's So Raven was at its peak, but the cast was getting older, and the stories were starting to feel a little different. The episode that caused all the chaos was called That's Not So Raven. In this episode, Raven gets a big chance to show off a dress she designed herself. She's super excited because fashion is her dream, and she gets to model the dress for a magazine. But when the pictures come out, Raven is shocked. The magazine edited her photos to make her look much thinner than she really is. Raven feels hurt and confused. Why would they change how she looks? The episode dives into how this makes Raven feel about herself and her body, and it sends a strong message about loving who you are, no matter what. Sounds like a great episode, right? It was. Fans loved how it tackled a real issue that lots of kids and teens face, feeling pressured to look a certain way. But here's where things got messy. Some people watching the show, especially parents and media watchdog groups, weren't happy. They thought the episode was too heavy for a kids' show. Disney Channel was known for light, fun stories, and this episode hit on a topic that felt too grown up for some viewers. They argued that talking about body image and photo editing might be too confusing or upsetting for younger kids. Others said the show didn't go far enough in explaining the issue, leaving some viewers unsure about the message. The episode sparked a huge debate online and in the news. People were arguing about whether Disney should be tackling serious topics like this at all. The backlash grew louder when a few parents' groups started writing letters to Disney, saying the episode wasn't appropriate for their kids. They worried it could make young viewers feel bad about their own bodies, or confused about what they saw in magazines. Some even claimed the show was pushing ideas that were too mature for its audience. Disney executives started to feel the pressure. They didn't want to lose their audience or upset parents, who were a big part of their fan base. At the same time, the cast and crew stood by the episode. Raven Simonet herself spoke out, saying the story was important because it showed kids they didn't have to change to be beautiful. She wanted young viewers to know they were perfect just the way they were. But the controversy didn't stop there. Rumors started swirling that the episode caused so much trouble that Disney decided to pull the plug on That's So Raven entirely. By 2006, the show was already winding down. The cast was getting older, and Disney was starting to focus on new shows like High School Musical. Some fans believe the That's Not So Raven episode was the final straw that pushed Disney to end the series. Others think the show was already on its way out, and the episode just gave the network an excuse to wrap things up. Whatever the truth, the episode became known as the one that took That's So Raven off the air. It wasn't just the episode itself. It was the storm it created, with parents, critics, and fans all weighing in. Let's talk about why this episode hit such a nerve. Body image is a big deal, especially for kids and teens who are still figuring out who they are. That's So Raven had tackled tough topics before, like racism in the episode True Colors, where Raven deals with a store manager who refuses to hire black people. That episode was praised for starting important conversations, but it didn't get the same kind of backlash. Maybe it was because body image feels so personal, or maybe it was because the show aired at a time when people were extra sensitive about what kids were watching. Either way, the debate around That's Not So Raven showed how powerful TV can be. A single episode could make people think, feel, and argue in ways no one expected. Behind the scenes, things weren't always smooth either. Annalisa van der Pol, who played Chelsea, later shared that working on the show had its challenges. When the series first started, Raven wasn't even supposed to be the main character. The show was called Absolutely Psychic, and Chelsea was meant to be the star. But after filming the pilot, the creators saw how funny and talented Raven-Symoné was and made her the lead. This was a smart move, but it caused some tension. Annalisa said she felt a little pushed aside, and she even wondered if race played a part in how the roles were decided. At the time, it was rare for a black actress to lead a Disney show, and some people at the network weren't sure it would work. Thankfully, Raven proved them wrong, and the show became a hit because of her. The cast also faced the pressures of being young stars. They were just teenagers, but they had to deal with long hours, big responsibilities, and the eyes of millions of fans. Raven-Symoné, Orlando Brown, and Kyle Massey, who played Corey, all worked hard to make the show fun and relatable. But growing up in the spotlight wasn't easy. Orlando Brown, for example, faced personal struggles after the show ended, though he's since worked on new projects like music and reality TV. Raven-Symoné kept shining, starring in movies like The Cheetah Girls and later, Raven's Home. Kyle Massey even made headlines for saving someone from a car accident. The cast's bond carried them through, and their love for the show still shines when they talk about it today. As the controversy over That's Not So Raven grew, Disney had to make some tough choices. The show was already a huge success, but the network was starting to shift its focus to new projects. That's So Raven had broken records as the first Disney Channel show to hit 100 episodes, but the cast was aging out of their roles. Raven and her friends were supposed to be teens, but the actors were in their 20s by the 4th season. Disney knew it was time to move on, but the backlash from that one episode didn't help. Some say it gave the network a reason to end the show sooner than planned. Others believe Disney wanted to go out on a high note before the show lost its spark. Looking back, it's hard to imagine That's So Raven ending because of one episode, but that's how it felt to a lot of fans. The show had such a big impact that people were shocked when it was over. It wasn't just about the laughs. It was about seeing a character like Raven, who was funny, smart, and confident, leading the way. She showed us that it's okay to mess up, as long as you keep trying. The show's mix of comedy, heart, and real-life lessons made it unforgettable. Episodes like True Colors and The Road to Audition, where Raven tries to impress a talent scout, are still fan favorites because they mixed silly moments with big ideas. So, what happened to That's So Raven after it left the air? The show's legacy lived on. Corey in the House kept the story going for a while, following Corey's adventures in Washington, D.C. Then, in 2017, Raven's Home brought Raven and Chelsea back as moms, raising their own kids and dealing with new challenges. Fans were thrilled to see Raven-Symoné and Annalisa van der Pol together again, still making us laugh. The show even introduced a new generation to Raven's psychic powers, with her son Booker inheriting her gift. Raven's Home ran until 2023, proving that the That's So Raven magic was still alive. The cast has moved on to new adventures too. Raven Simone is still a star, working on projects like her podcast with her wife Miranda, and a new spin-off called Alice in the Palace. Kyle Massey has been acting and even became a real-life hero. Annalise Vanderpool has shined on Broadway and in Raven's home. Rondell Sheridan, who played Raven's dad, Victor, is still making people laugh with his stand-up comedy. Takea Crystal Kema, who played Tanya, is teaching acting and inspiring new talent. Even Orlando Brown, despite some tough times, is still creating music and sharing his story. The infamous scene in That's Not So Raven might have stirred up trouble, but it also showed how powerful the show was. It wasn't afraid to talk about real issues, even if it meant taking risks. That's what made That's So Raven so special. It could make you laugh, think, and feel all at once. Whether you remember Raven's crazy disguises, her psychic visions, or the way she always had her friends' backs, the show left a mark on our hearts. It taught us to be ourselves, to stand up for what's right, and to never give up, no matter how messy things get. If you loved this deep dive into That's So Raven, and the scene that shook everything up, hit that like button and share this video with your friends. Let's keep the That's So Raven love alive. Subscribe to our channel for more stories about your favorite shows and the moments that changed TV forever. Tell us in the comments, what's your favorite That's So Raven episode? And don't forget to ring that bell so you never miss an update. Oh snap! Let's keep the party going.